Don't drink and support, or do. I'm quite lucky in that some major mind bleaches erased some real horrors, but I still fondly remember this one. So this was late 90s and I was a freelancer in a large organization doing VB and SQL development. Somehow, and I still don't know how, I got landed with the support rota on a DOS-based PC system. Now this was obviously in the days of modems and ISDN here in the UK, but we didn't have remote access, so overnight support was an office visit via a contract taxi. One Friday night when I wasn't on the rota, some friends and I had quite a big session in the pub. After 5 or 6 pints, I wandered home to sleep it off. 2 in the morning, my phone rings. Sorry to wake you, the batch has failed and so-and-so didn't answer the phone. Now at this, all assumed, I have no recollection what happened next. Next morning I surface, make a coffee, and then ponder. I did something last night. The penny dropped. A swift cycle across the city to the office, which I still remember even though it was 25 years ago, and to my relief the batch had completed successfully. To this day I still don't recall what went wrong with it. Still at freelancer rates back then, my few hours doing something more than covered the mortgage for a month. What's up guys, welcome back to Storytime with Uncle Jon. Today we're taking a look at Tales from Tech Support stories. Pardon my shoddy appearance here. I've got drywall spackle all over me and I'm recording between skim coats. Funny enough, I really suck at doing drywall finishing. I can hang the stuff okay, and I can usually get a good tape coat on, but in a lot of spots in this one rehab that we did in the living room and dining room, the tape bubbled after a while, where it didn't quite seed into the mud properly, like I didn't have the mud right, I didn't keep the temperatures right, something. Last week, I decided to hire a guy that had been highly recommended on the Nextdoor app. I called him up, we set up a time for him to come look at it, he came and looked at it, gave me an estimate, $650 to, cut out the bad tape, fix my screw-ups, and finish it off, get it sanded and everything so that we could paint it. Figured, no more screwing around, we're just going to have somebody come in and do it. Guy shows up, works for about 3.5 hours, and instead of cutting, he cut some of the stuff out, and other stuff, he just tried to skim over it like it was just a ridge or something in the, a little ridge in the tape. No. That ridge/bubbling means that it didn't seat right, and when you get it wet with the new mud, what's it going to do? It's going to sag even more because you just got it wet. He didn't want to fix anything, so we lost our deposit to him and sent him on his way, and then I immediately got my tools out, and now I'm finishing, which is what I was trying to avoid the first time. What are you going to do? Unemployment office does not computer. Cast of characters. Me, currently unemployed Linux system administrator, PFY without the P or the Y, mild streaks of BOFH. Drone, unemployment office worker. Manager, N+1 to the above, might contain trace amounts of plaster and or concrete due to poor location choices when she was being rocked by her parents. Companies, bloodsuckers who usually think the idea of a livable wage to be utterly ridiculous. Also, they want to hire me for some reason. For a bit of context, I left my job in early June due to what I will charitably call major disagreements about remuneration. I've then signed up to the local unemployment office, after scrambling to find the login info I used for the last time about 4 years and 2 computers ago. Curse me for not saving that to the cloud. Anyway, summer being what it is, job postings are very sparse, so I spent most of my time doing other things. Drone is the job counselor assigned to my case. Incidentally, she happened to be on vacation herself when I signed up, so my first few mails were met with automated responses. Unfortunately for me, she's also in charge of approving my unemployment benefits, so let's just say I got my July payment sometime around the middle of August. One of the conditions to receive unemployment is to not reject more than 2 offers per month without cause. Said cause can be almost anything reasonable, like the commute being too long, the pay not being enough, basically a bunch of somewhat logical reasons to reject a job. Note that you can cheat the system and just apply and present yourself as the most unhireable person ever, and this won't count against you. The unemployment office doesn't have access to the end result of the interviews, but I digress. One morning I received several calls from Drone, who is back from vacation with a fire burning in her heart, and the equivalent of a heat-based death ray directed at me. Drone says, "I noticed you've rejected the offer from Company 1. I'm calling you to tell you this is your first warning." Company 1 posted, as far as I can tell, a decent offer, if a little low on the simoleons. The one problem, and reason why I declined, is their infrastructure is 100% Windows Server based. I try to position myself as a Linux guy. I need to have at the very least equal parts Linux and Windows Server to not have this job negatively affect my career path. And if you think I'm overreacting to this, I still get calls from hardware companies that saw I made one Arduino project 10 years ago on some crusty old godforsaken version of my resume. Edit. This is the part where I realized that writing at nearly 1 a.m. isn't the best idea, and I forgot one crucial piece of lore. The last Windows Server version I interacted with was 2012. I likely cannot use anything past 2016 without a refresher course. I proceeded to explain the above to Drone, but Drone isn't a computer person. Drone says, I don't understand how, and I don't need to. One more infraction and your unemployment will be suspended. Me, being annoyed enough to be the Karen for once, put me through to your manager, now. Bad move. Turns out manager's even worse. Who would have thought? You'd think me quitting because I tried to talk to the lizard folk in the first place would teach me something, but no. I explained the same situation to her, and her answer is somehow even worse. Manager says, Drone is right, and actually I think you're being difficult on purpose. I say, the F do you mean difficult on purpose? Manager says, we've sent you more than one reasonable offer for someone with your experience. You declined Company 2's very competitive offer. Me interrupting her, Company 2's opening is for an e-waste sorter. Note, I'm not entirely sure how to translate this. Sorting electronic waste before processing and potentially shipping it out to specialized recycling plants? Manager says, yes, so it's in line with your computer skills, right? I say, absolutely not. I operate computers. My role in their decommissioning usually stops at the recycling center's gates. Manager says, but a job is a job. I say, the terms are pretty clear. I need to have a valid cause for rejecting a job. The job literally not being anywhere near close to what I have ever done should be a valid enough cause. Manager says, all I'm seeing is that you're not willing to work, so I'll have to suspend your benefits. Me, really losing it at this point. Listen carefully to me. This isn't my job. I do not work in recycling. Manager says, but it's computers. Oh my God. This went on a loop for a much longer time than it really should have. At some point, I started asking for anybody with more computer literacy in the building. Hopefully someone specialized in IT recruiting. Hell, at this point, I'd have talked to the potted plant if it put manager out of my non-existent hair for a minute. Apparently, my local unemployment office doesn't have a recruiter specialized in IT, despite being located in the middle of an office district known to abduct entire classes worth of graduates every fall. 21st century my shiny metal arse. Ended up having to call the National Unemployment Office and wait for an hour to have a 5-minute conversation with an IT specialist that acted like he would schedule training for Drone and manager. I'm off the hook for now, but I don't know how long that'll last. Addendum, just in case you're curious about some details. Manager is at least 60, possibly closer to 70. There were a total of 8 companies so far, most of whom I rejected for being fully on Windows Server, Company 2 above, and that one was located downtown, which is pretty much exactly the area I'm trying to get the hell away from, and literally my old workplace. At least they didn't question that last one. It's funny, I've only taken unemployment a couple times in my life, whether it was because I didn't qualify, I was being lazy, because I didn't think I'd get it, whatever. I only did a few different things back then in construction. I was a framer. I could do job site cleanup, but then my pay is literally cut in half. I could do some exterior trim work, frame, sheath, cornice work, set windows, set doors. I had a skill set. And for some reason, they kept wanting to put me on with either an electrician's apprentice or a plumber's apprentice. Now, in hindsight, if I'd have gone with one of those, I probably would have learned more and made a lot more money, because most electricians honestly make double what a halfway decent carpenter makes in a year. So, but the point still remains that they weren't even close to looking into my wheelhouse. Now, it was really up to us to look for the jobs. And there was some job coach, and I don't remember when this came along, if it's still a thing in the state that I grew up in. But, generally speaking, you looked for your own jobs. You had to turn in who you spoke to, who you applied to, things like that, why you didn't take the job or why they didn't give it to you or offer it to you, things like that. So you had to basically turn in so many applications every week or every 2 weeks, something. And but at some point, they started sending me things. And I'm thinking, why would I look there? I don't do those things. Same kind of deal. Basically, like OP said, they're just office drones. They have no idea what they're looking at. Well, such is life. MFA prevented me from working. MFA has been pushed out all throughout the company, and emails went out starting 8/1 with video instructions included if the slides were too difficult. Even if you still struggle, you're free to give us a call for assistance. Even then, if you can't figure it out, we book you an appointment to come into the office and set it up for you. Easy day-to-day working from home, and a user calls. User says, I can't work. I say, can I get your employee number? User says, how am I supposed to do that if I can't work? I say, it's on the badge provided by the company. User says the employee number. I hear kids, TV, music, dogs, so I know she's teleworking. I say, okay, so you're unable to work. Are you able to log into the system? User says, no, your MFA prevented me from working. I just got back from lunch and it's 1 p.m. Checked her profile and MFA was set up on 8/20. I say, okay, so after you sign into your laptop, are you prompted to sign in again and then a 2-digit code is displayed? User says, yes, that's what prevented me from working. I say, okay, do you have your company phone? User says, this is preventing me from working. I need you to email my supervisor that it didn't work. Oh, I see what they're doing. I say, can we go ahead and grab the company phone and let's attempt to log you in with me assisting you. User says, it's not going to work, so you're going to have to email my supervisor. I say, okay, so do me a favor and unlock your phone. User says, my phone's acting up too and everything's acting up on it. I say, okay, so now that it's unlocked, can you open up the MFA app? User says, my phone says stuff and keeps changing languages. I say, can you access the settings? User says, I don't know, it's changing language every... I think this girl's at the start of an iPhone configuration screen where it greets you in various languages. I say, did you recently reset your phone? User says, I didn't do nothing, the phone don't work. I start figuring out what this lady did. She most likely wiped her phone due to too many incorrect passcode attempts. I say, did you attempt to unlock your passcode on your phone and it failed to unlock multiple times? User says, it kept telling me to wait and I waited, then it changed languages. I say, so your phone is at the configuration screen. After failed attempts, you have to call us to unlock and help reset your passcode. I'll send you the instructional video on how to reconfigure your phone. If you're still struggling with the configuration process, call the help desk to schedule an appointment to further assist you. User says, the phone don't work, y'all need to give me a new one, blah, blah, blah. I cut her off. I say, on your computer screen, can you attempt to log in again and let me know once the 2-digit code displays? User says, what's that? Hold up, what are you saying? I say, let's go to your laptop and attempt to sign in, to the point where the 2-digit code is displayed on the screen. User says, I don't understand what you're saying. You need to describe to me what to do. I say, so when your laptop starts up, it automatically launches the program that has you sign in. Once the sign-in window opens, do me a favor and sign in. User says, okay, I know that I'm signing in. Me, please let me know once you've signed in and the 2-digit code is displayed. User says, wait, I don't understand what you're saying. You're confusing me. I say, okay, do me a favor and sign in. User says, I did that already. Okay, now that you've signed in, a 2-digit code should be on your screen. User says, I don't understand you. You keep saying this word like I work in IT or something. What is this word code? Do you see the 2 numbers on your screen? User says, why can't you just say that? They numbers, you keep saying code. I say, do you see the 2 numbers and below it you can see, I can't see my Microsoft authentication right now? Click on that. User says, okay, so I see the code and I click the blue sentence. I say, go ahead and choose the alternative options to verify. User says, okay, so can you send my supervisor the email because I couldn't work because of y'all? Me, it's almost 2 p.m. We have a help desk available from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Was there an attempt to reach us earlier? User says, how am I supposed to call when my phone wasn't working? Oh, dear God. I say, and the device you're calling me from wasn't available? User says, I don't use my personal phone for work stuff. I keep my business and personal, separate. I say, okay, I understand. Is there anything else I can help you with? User says, you need to email my supervisor because I couldn't get to work today. I say, is supervisor the supervisor listed on your profile? User says, yes, and you need to email her before 3 because I'm about to leave. I already emailed them as you requested. She'll be provided with all the information. User hangs up. I emailed the full details on how she didn't attempt the alternative method and how she reset her iPhone and didn't reach out before the wipe. Best part was letting her know she didn't mix business and personal life, but still called us before the end of the day. MFA has been shit like all this month. So many people just stop working if it's a struggle to authenticate. Funny thing is, they were authenticating through text before. Well, this particular user sounded like they were either A, just trying to get out of work for the day, B, it just got a little bit difficult, and instead of calling somebody, they figured they'd take advantage of it. I don't know. There's something going on there, but it's really doesn't sound like anything legitimate, honestly. But I got to partially blame the company for this because how much training do they actually give? How much of the user's background do they actually check when they hire these people? It doesn't sound like anything's that difficult when it comes to setting up your phone, setting up your MFA, whatever. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm expecting too much of humanity. It's broken. Okay, bye. I work in the IT department for a small manufacturing company. Yesterday, the maintenance person came into the IT office and this conversation happened. Maintenance says, have you fixed the computer in X office yet? I say, sorry? Maintenance says, shop manager asked me to make sure you guys fix the computer in X office. I say, we're not aware there was an issue. Can you tell me more about it? Maintenance says, no, sorry, that's all he said. He's gone for the day or I'd ask. I say, okay, well, I suppose I can talk to the people that work in X office. Maintenance says, no, they work earlier, so their day ended half an hour ago. There's nobody in X office. I say, okay, I'll go take a look, but if there's nothing immediately apparent, I'll have to wait until tomorrow. I go over to X office and notice their barcode scanner's not working at all. I replace it, open a few programs, restart the computer for good measure. Everything looks fine. This morning, our department got an email from shop manager. He's mad that the computer isn't fixed. My dude, you said it's broken to someone who doesn't even work in IT and then left for the day. What did you expect us to do with that information? So in what world, personal, business, or otherwise, is it a good idea to give somebody from a whole different department a message to give to your IT team that something's not working properly? Now, there's nothing against, maintenance guys, janitorial staff, whatever, but they're not the ones dealing with the computer. Now, if there is a computer in the maintenance office or a computer in the janitorial office or whatever, and their computer breaks down and they come tell you, that's a different story. But using them as a messenger service, that's just dumb. Speaking of janitorial, see this website address right here? UncleJohnSoap.com. Not only do we make great handmade soaps in about 20-some different scents, we also make laundry soap. You heard that right. For the last 14 or so years, we've been making powdered laundry detergent that's good for regular machines, high-efficiency machines, you name it. About 1/8 of a teaspoon in a high-efficiency machine for a, lightly soiled load, all the way up to 1/2 teaspoon for heavily soiled loads. And people never believe me, but you got to try it, really. It comes in a 2-pound sack and should last you months, depending on how many kids you got. In my house, that could be a week. Anyway, check out the site if you get a chance and shoot me a message from the site. There's actually a live chat feature on there if you want to talk to me and you got any questions about products. I'm generally available. So, till the next one, we'll see you.